So hello everyone, this is your Krishna from Womentoday YouTube channel. So in this channel, we have been interviewing many women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India. We're just traveling to different cities. We are doing offline interviews and we are also doing online interviews across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So today's our guest is from Mumbai. Her name is RASHMI SINHA and she is a personality development trainer. She teaches and she's done a lot of teaching, coaching to students via sacred things like Bhagavad Gita and many books like that. So I welcome you, Rashmi Sinha ma'am, to this Women Today YouTube channel. So please kindly introduce about yourself, about the kind of professional work that you're doing to the audience who are watching this interview right now, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Krishna, for inviting me for this podcast. I'm grateful. I am Rashmi Sinha. As Krishna shared, I am the founder of Sattvavarta. I have been working in non-profit space in various capacities for last 13 plus years. I have been at a couple of organizations, and I have also freelanced a lot during this period of time in various capacities, which also included capacity building and creating content and fellowships and managing youth, young volunteers at the start of my career with nonprofits. So, what I have done last year is that I've created my own platform and we call it Sattvavarta Human Development Solutions Private Limited, the whole name. Yeah. So, what we are doing right now here is creating a platform for multiple facilitators where the content is inspired by our Vedic value system, our Indian knowledge system, civilizational knowledge, whatever you call it. And these goes back to Ramayana, Mahabharata, Yoga Sutra, and various other texts. Of course, Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, and Mahabharata is a larger poem. Yeah. So overall, this is the basis on which we are consistently creating content for school students and for teachers. For school students specifically, we are calling it the purpose curriculum, where we are helping students arrive at a purpose. You know, whatever the purpose they have in their life, their own purpose. You know, the purpose which is aligned to their own being. There's a whole process of doing that. And this is for specifically for students from class 9 to 12, because we need a certain cognitive level of understanding for the students to, go through the process. Because this is the process work that we do. And for teachers, it's more like a train the trainer thing. And we are creating content on various sutras of Bhagavad Gita, on basis of which we kind of engage with teachers for their own learning, and then they can take it, of course, they can take it forward to the classroom as well. So, yeah, these are the two primary things we are doing, along with a couple of other things also. Yes.
Yeah, also I wanted to ask you, so before the thought of Sattvavarta came to your mind, so what actually sparked this kind of interest and what made you develop things so that you will associate things with the sacred books like Ramayana and Mahabharata, like Bhagavad Gita. So that's a lot that how we can actually teach kids. It's not kids, it's children. So we want to educate students according to our ancient way, the sacred way. So where did you get this kind of idea? And tell us about the kind of journey, about your inspiration, about kind of developing Sattvavarta website and all other things, ma'am.
Of course. So I was very happily working in the nonprofit space. I was doing very good work. It was very satisfying because we knew that the work that we are doing is very sacred and very good. So the alignment towards doing good was complete. It was not I was not satisfied or anything. I was in a very good place holistically. At the same time, I was going through, I think I was going through a certain personal crisis, I would say, where I was just trying to understand a couple of things, why things are happening when it is supposed to happen in a certain way, and it is not happening, it is not landing. So what is it that's happening? What is that lack of alignment that I was experiencing within me? That led me to Yoga Sutra, where I started studying with Ritambhara Ashram. And and that is when it was more of a personal journey. I never thought that I would want to do anything with it. All I wanted to do is understand myself. at the start of it. This was 2019. Yeah, and around 22, 23, I think there was, I'm quite a consumer of, I consume a lot of news from domestic, international, all of it. And it was, there was this, I think it was 2023, around 2023, that there was a lot of news of a lot of young 16, 17-year-olds not able to cope up and not surviving, and taking the extreme step for themselves. Was It was like, so many people have committed suicide at Kota. So when that news came, it was quite a thing for me. And I was like, okay, okay, you take bad news, so much of bad news happens, and then you're like, okay, this has happened, fine. I felt bad, and then I was over it. Next day again, something new happened, of similar kind. That was the time I was not able to take it, and I just shut the TV off, and I sat with my pen and paper and started collecting data from places, from various articles at India Today and other places also. But I figured that this is some kind of a phenomena which is happening, and I also understood that students who are coming to various places, smaller places, to a place where it is said to be a sacred space for education, and not able to cope. What is really happening? What is the gap between a child who is able to cope and between the child who is not able to cope? What is that gap? Is what I wanted to understand from my own understanding. I mean, a very small understanding of my own, but yeah, this was what came to me, and this is the seed of Sattvavarta. I thought that, okay, this is because there is somebody in the child's life they're able to go to and connect and talk it out. And the child who is not able to go to anybody feels like this is it. There's no other way. I can't move out of it. The only way moving out of it is like, is this kind of an extreme step. So I was like, what can I do? What is it that I can do? And it's been a couple of years of me learning Yoga Sutra with Ritandhara Ashram, and been consistently taking some workshops or the other every single year with them, and longer workshops, 8-month, 10-month workshops. They call it Inner Work Through Yoga, and couple of others. So that was the time when I thought my learning that I'm starting every day on an everyday basis is something which can come handy, because all those learnings had helped me become a better person, help me have my own clarity, help me have my personal practices, the personal rituals and practices back in place. Because what happened is that when mothers say, "Ki aisa karo, do this, do that," then we question, why should I do this? Why should I do that? And mothers are not able to respond to our whys. But when we are in the search and we find our own questions and we find our own answers, I found my own answers, and I found the value of having a ritual. That is the time when I found my own why. I thought, let me take it out to the world, to the larger world, because I felt I could. So that's what I did, and that was a thought process which set rolling, and I started collecting data. I started, created a basically this first step was creating a drive for Sattvavarta, and yeah, we called it Goodwill Initiative back then, and then kind of changed name to Sattvavarta eventually. So yeah, creating the drive for Sattvavarta and started collecting. It was only last year June when I, in middle of a workshop actually, I felt that this whole set of people don't need me. So I need to be somewhere else where people might need me, and I am needed, and I need to now the time is right to do the work that I wish to do. So that was the turning point when I, eventually, because one gets comfortable. Like I did all the work, created, and feel okay, my life is great. I am, at in my own. It's not easy to, kind of, the journey is never like this. It was like this, and then this, like this, and then this, going up and down. It's always like this. So again, created all that research, and then thought about it, shared that idea with a couple of people, and, kind of forgot about it, honestly. But at this core of me, I hadn't. It was there in me. The seed was already there. And Last year I felt in middle of workshop, as I said, that I need to be somewhere where I am really needed and with where I am aligned with myself, with whatever I am doing with my day-to-day activities. And that was a seed, and that was the first seed was in 2023, and the first brick was last year when I decided, okay, let me start my journey. So this is the whole journey. It's quite elaborate, I think. I
Yeah,
went
that's how we wanted to know, because most of people needed to know about the kind of goodwill, kind of good works you're doing to the society. And Sattvavarta, first of all, I just congrats the kind of work that you do from my side, because you always wanted students to cope up with the kind of pressure that they're having in their studies.
Mm,
Because even in my school days, I used to have a lot of pressure, because there'll be teachers asking you questions, and if you're not going to answer the question, you'll be standing, and the next person is going to answer. If they're not going to kind of answer, then they'll also be standing. At the end of the class, each and everybody will be standing like that. And what happens at 90% of the time is I'm the only person who will be sitting in the class, because I have already answered the questions. So that's the pressure which I had, because I make myself sure that whatever the questions that the teachers ask me to prepare for the next day revision, I make sure I just study till the midnight, like around 12 or 1, or I just wake up like around 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning. So that's how I'm able to kind of cope up with the kind of pressure, because I always wanted myself not to stand in front of the class. I always wanted to sit, and I always wanted to make sure that, okay, whatever may, it's not that mostly that I wanted to be perfectly educated or something, like I wanted to be make myself like a genius or something like that. I always wanted to make sure that I'm not going to get any kind of scoldings from my tutor, from my teacher. So that's the thing,
mm,
that's the pressure which I was just handling when I was just as a kid. Even as a like a high school student, I was just having that kind of pressure. So I truly understand that people like you should come and kind of match the gap between the students, what's the pressure that they're handling right now, and in what way we can actually kind of interact with them, because interacting with the student is something like which each and everyone can't do. Only great professionals like you, because you have a lot of experience that you can actually go through it. So now I'm able to get that you are helping to the students in this way, which will actually make them, because as you said in the beginning, like, okay, you are seeing news like, okay, it's not good, students are taking serious steps towards the life. Of course, this is that,
yeah,
that's a part of life. Education is just a part of life. But the thing is that,
right.
of course, it plays a very vital role. But the thing is that people are very afraid to take the next step. what
Hmm.
what else we can do if not we are just going to pursue our education? Because every degree certificates can fetch a job, but without any kind of degree certificates we can actually struggle a lot, and there is a lot of things that we should face in the life. So yeah,
Yeah,
now I think where the Sattvavarta part plays its vital role, we're making sure the kids that, okay, you can actually achieve whatever you want, just stay calm, and we can actually guide you. I totally understand you, ma'am. So there are a lot of questions regarding Indian National Education Policy 2020.
hmm,
So first of all, we always wanted to know a few information about Indian National Education Policy 2020.
sure.
And is there any kind of policies that is kind of made each and every year, or is it like once in 5 years that make this education policy? So tell us about it, the information about education policy, ma'am.
Yeah. So NEP 2020, that is National Education Policy 2020, came in 2020, as the name itself suggests, and it recommended many things. It recommended bringing in training for the teachers, many other things. It brought in vocational education and all of that. Along with that, it brought in the IKS, that is Indian Knowledge System, to be included and to be integrated into the existing curriculum. So the curriculum is already there for the school to follow, right? So they are saying is, what the policy says, it is a recommendation that our Indian knowledge system and stories and all of that should be part of the teaching and the learning that is happening. And this is 2025, so 5 years down the line. It is kind of initially, so it COVID and all of that happened. School was not, school ही खुला नहीं था. school was closed and all of that. But now, it is like schools and all of many other universities also. For example, Mumbai University also have changed their credit framework as per NEP. So a lot of colleges and schools are now gearing towards shifting towards including, I guess, the Indian knowledge system into their curriculum. So what we have done, Krishna, is that we have made sure that we don't provide a one-off solution to one child. We create a full-fledged SOP kind of a minute-by-minute program where we hand it out to the teachers, and they can take it forward, because we cannot be everywhere and there's so many schools all across, and we need to do so much of work and reach out to so many people. So what we are doing is we have created a 10-week to 30-week curriculum. A bit of work is still on it, but overall the main large part is ready, where we call it the purpose curriculum. The objective, we have a certain objective. The objective is that the child is aligned to their own purpose. A child is aligned to what they wish to do, because what happens is whosoever is doing a certain kind, no matter how successful they are in their life, that is irrelevant, but if they're not aligned to that profession, they're not very peaceful. They don't need to live a very peaceful life. So there is a concept called Swadharma and Paradharma in our Indian knowledge system, which is when I align to the Swadharma, our own purpose, then it's really everything, kind of helps and works around and about it. So that is what we are trying to do with the purpose curriculum. We are bringing it, and we have created like class by class curriculum, which is activity based. So there are one or two or couple of lecture classes based, to share to or to introduce the concept of archetype, or to introduce the concept of what do you call it, NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and all of that, and couple of healing therapies. But overall, it is all about activities. It is about games. It is about art. It is about body work, visualization, drama, and a lot of writings also. A bit of assessments, because without assessments, school में क्या है? School means measurement. We need to measure. We do a baseline assessment of where they already are. We assess at the middle of the project of how they have arrived, and then at the end of what is the arc looking like of the whole journey that we have covered. The final objective of doing all this is to establish curated values and not accidental values, because accidental values are values that is impacted by my particular environment. But what if I'm able to give a certain value which is based on the child's dream? If you get into a class of KG1, every child has a beautiful dream. I want to become a prime minister. I want to become a policeman. I want to become a pilot. I want to do this. I want to do that. Everybody, has that. Every child, 30 out of 30 child has a beautiful dream. So what is happening in between? What is really happening? So we need to kind of understand that root cause. So we are establishing a curated value system and belief which takes over they and control over themselves. They have control over their own belief system and value system. You're making them understand this through body work, through games, all of this. So this is the work that we are at.
Yeah, that's once again a great elaborate answer from you. Of course, people have to kind of realize the kind of reason why they're actually existing. And also at the same time, when you just move to the life of kids, children, they have to align with the kind of thing that they actually exist. The most part of students' life revolve around education. So you have to make sure that they are aligned with it in the right way. And of course, our sacred books like Mahabharata and kind of great Ramayana stories will actually help us to kind of make our life in such a way that we can achieve success. So also tell us the kind of National Education Policy 2020 implications for school education. Like as you said, yes, of course, Mahabharatas and Ramayanas have to be included, and it in some or the other way which will help students. So tell us, in what way does it help in the curriculum development of the students? Like how can we actually expect the results go positive by just having this in the students' curriculum? So tell us all about it now.
So you're talking about the impact. You're specifically asking what is the impact of what you're doing, right? So
Yes.
what is a Ramayana? It is a story. What is a Mahabharata? It is a story. What stories? What is the current stories the world has built? Money. Money is a huge story that the modern world has built on. The currency. What other stories like this? Bitcoin is a new story that is built. So we humans need stories to make sense of things. So Upanishads say from Upanishads, Ramayana and Mahabharata were curated for us mortal beings, so that we understand what does what is the Upanishad saying, actually saying, what does it mean, what is it, and how is it relevant in my life, right? So that is why stories are extremely significant in our lives, and that is exactly what we are doing. We are giving children stories of Duryodhan, not just positive characters, right? We are giving the stories of Manthara, we are giving the stories of Kaikai, we are giving the stories of Sanjay. What was the role of Sanjay? What was the role of Nakul? What is the role of Sahadev? Sahadev is a great researcher and a scholar. How much do we know about them? So these are the stories which are more relevant for day-to-day life. Not how many warriors can we have in a certain community? A couple of them, the heroes, the warriors, and all of that. But we can have many researchers, right? Nakul was like another great character. This one, Shakuni. Shakuni is like the cunning man, the negotiator, but he had his own agendas, right? He had his own family, he had his own history. Do we know about the background history of Shakuni? Understanding what is the human part in him. What is this Narad Muni character? Why is he instigating everywhere, wherever he is going with Narayan, he's instigating somebody or the other. Why is he doing it? Is it for the Jan Kalyan Hetu? Maybe looks like. These are the questions that we help children reflect. First, we tell the stories and we help them reflect and understand about, what are the stories looking like. So this is the primary objective of telling stories. And stories are beautiful. It engages us in a very subconscious, at a very deeper level. We kind of get it, right? So this is, and with children, a lot can be learned through the stories. It doesn't always have to be a very heavy, bearing, moralistic story, but giving the stories of all sides. So this is what we are doing, and the impact, of course, is that end of our curriculum, at the end of what we are offering, the child is aligned to their own self. Coming back to Swadharma, the child is aligned to their own Swadharma, own purpose in life. So again, going a bit back to our Indic texts, it is said that all of us have come on this earth for a certain purpose. That purpose is our prarabdha, that the work that we have to do. So that is again aligning, and aligning with our own self and coming to the purpose of life, because that is what is going to consume me in my life throughout my lifetime, right? Because once I'm into the job space, once I'm into the space of working constantly, then say 70 to 80% people are in corporate space, and all lot of all government, any actually business, even more, it's like almost 90% of the time is for the work. So any work they are really into, it's like most of the time they're spending there. It's very important for the person to be aligned in the space one is spending so much of time. It only makes sense. It is only common sense to be very sure of what do I want to do in my lifetime. After assessing, after having the option of understanding what all value system do I choose, because what, even when we are choosing a restaurant to go out to eat, the value system at subconscious level works. So if I have a certain value system with regard to safety or cleanliness, hygiene, I'm finicky about it, then I will choose a place. I will not be able to eat an roadside food. but I don't care too much about it, then it's cool. I can go and have food. So what I'm saying is, even for smallest things we do, the subconscious level, directs us towards our own value system. If my value system is freedom, then no matter what, I will make sure that I am free of any baggage with anybody, with regard to my work, with regard to everything that I choose, with everyday choices and decisions that I'm making. So this is what we are helping them. The impact will not be on our face. The impact should be at a very subtle level in a person's life. And we have I do personal one-to-one work with some children, and we can see the impact already happening when I'm making a choice of engaging from a very personal and a compassionate space, which is indic, which helps us focus on our breath. Then it's a very different kind of solution that we look towards. Yeah.
Yes, of course. What are the things that are told by you? I always insist that to my friends. Of course, whenever we go to hotels, we look at the cleanliness and hygiene. It's always incorporated within our subconscious mind. Also, you are speaking about the purpose of soul. Of course, each and every human being has a soul with which they are born in, and they always have their very unique purpose with the because that's the goal for the that's the purpose why the soul is existing in this world, because they have to fulfill the kind of work that they have been allotted. That's why they are born in this world. It may be to fulfill the kind of fish, it may be to fulfill the kind of the society, it may be to fulfill the kind of karma, it may be anything. So I do understand that your kind of teachings will actually align the kind of things, and it will also help the kids to open out the heart, and it will make them interact via the one-to-one session that you do have with the children, and of course they'll be having a good success. I do understand that. We're also teaching about the personality development to the kids via yoga sutras. So first of all, tell us, ma'am, what do you mean by yoga sutras, so that people will be know about the kind concept of yoga sutra, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. So, Yoga Sutra is the book written by Rishi Patanjali, and it is the basis of the book of pranayam and asana pranayam that we do. But it is only a very small percentage of the larger book that it is. It is more. This book is more about how should we should how we live life, not should. There's no instruction or anything. It is just sutras which kind of initiates and asks us to eventually take our own call, and every sutra will be different from me, and every sutra will land differently for you. So this is more about life rather than anything else. And so it's as I said, personality development is the purpose curriculum that we talked about, because that is what we are directing towards. Yeah. So, Yoga Sutra, along with Yoga Sutra, we are also creating content from Ramayana and Mahabharata. And the overall objective is to give them learnings through the stories.
So tell us, ma'am, what is the, you can just tell with any kind of examples, any roles from Mahabharata, Ramayana, so that with the help of that specific character, the student can actually incorporate good kind of personality development by just reading the kind of stories of a very great character. So tell us about your favorite kind of role, the historic character. So tell us all about it, ma'am.
So we do not give them, that is what we are differently we are doing. We do not give them one character. We give them a whole 360 degree. Because what is the fact is that we are not all good and we are not all bad. There is a bit of maybe Duryodhan in me, or other negative characters in me also, which I need to see. When I see that, when I see all 360 degree, when I see all the characters, then I understand, okay, there's a certain reflection that happens to me at a subconscious level. So what you're asking is, what do we really actually do? We do, when we do the drama, when we play all the roles, not just play for the part. So we do create a story and then we play the role, whatever is relevant in the classroom. We play that role, but we do not just do that. There's a bit of a psychodrama also within it where we ask them to observe the parts of themselves. So we create a certain, I'll create a certain another Rashmi around me, and somebody, who is part of the play will play another Rashmi who is very furious and angry always. And there's another part of me who is like really calm and a meditator and understand things at a certain level. So there are now three parts of me: one who is furious, one is really a calm person, and there is me. So I am creating this kind of an environment where I am, through the stories, I am able to understand what are the follies in me. And with the same manner, the characters and all of it that we talk about, the stories that we talk about, it's not, the objective is not to think of just one character as one thing and then imbibe all the characters from that, all the values from that characters, but to see what is aligning with me. There's whole gamut of characters which are there. There's Durga, there's Kali's transformative power. There's Radha, who is an epitome of love. So what is it that I am aligning to? The warrior is Durga. The what is Vatsalya is Yashoda. So what is, where is my, where is that, where do I warm up? So in psychodrama we said, what are you warming up to? So where do I warm up? Where am I more aligned to? So these things help us understand ourselves more, because the primary Vedantic question, who am I, is what we are striving towards. As I said, what is the purpose of my life? So first step is, who am I? Through these layers and layers, we understand ourselves. That's why I said we need a certain 14-15-year-old, a certain level of cognitive understanding, and we do it all through it. So this is not what we are going to go and talk about in the classroom. It will be only through games and stories and drama, and through over the period of couple of, so we do not do a one-off session. We say at least give us 10 weeks. So through the period is only through which a child understands. We're all of it, right? We cannot just say, okay, we're all good, or this is my favorite. Everybody is favorite. All characters are favorite.
Yeah, there is a lot of characters. Of course, each and every people, like each and every student doesn't have only one subject in the class. Like if they have physics, they do have chemistry, they do have biology, they do have maths. So in the same way, our historic characters, there is a lot of characters. So via which we can actually develop some kind of sympathy, empathy, resilience, and kind of another kind of leadership things. So tell us, how do you actually incorporate all these characters in order to develop the leadership qualities? Because leadership is one of the highest qualities which each and every student should have. Of course, you actually incorporate by telling the stories. So what are the other ways via which you can actually make sure that the students learn these kind of characters from the great historic characters? So tell us your experience teaching the students about these kind of good things, ma'am.
Yeah. So the leadership, what is a leadership? What and who is a leader? A leader is a person who is able to respond, take the responsibility in a certain given situation. So if I am in a certain given situation where I am absolutely needed to, I am showing up. That is leadership. Leadership is not about dominating over a certain set of people. So where is the final leadership that I need to show and be at? It is with regard to an understanding of what I wish to do in my own life, and when I arrive with that with a certain clarity, then that is a place where I lead myself first. So first step is to lead within. So that is the primary work that we are doing. Because what is happening, honestly, throwing this thing, that what am I, what are the ingredients that I am giving: a leadership, a resilience, a certain integrity. So integrity is very significant. I'll come to it later on. But all these words are, these are very Western centric. It isolates a certain quality and thinks that this, if we include this, then the success is guaranteed or something like that. What we are saying is, no, first understand ourselves, understand the purpose in our life, and then once we are aligned to that, then we definitely show up and take responsibility, and that is where the leadership also arises. So it will come with the, as I said, 360 degree of everything. It will come along with that. Integrity is certainly some a part which we really focus on. A lot of work is taken from the SSR. It's an open library, SSRN. It's an open library, and a lot of papers have been. There's a Harvard written paper by Erhard, Jason Erhard, and this was given to me by a dear friend in 2015, 14, 15, and I started studying and kind of understood, and it talked about many things of how integrity works, and how it's like a battery in the clock. If it is not there, the clock will not work. So we do include integrity in our curriculum as an integral part of our workspace, because once we have the integrity in place, a lot of things falls in place.
That's actually a good history which you have regarding integrity. So also we have spoken a lot about personality development skills via just incorporating many kind of good things from our ancient historic characters. So also tell us, ma'am, now we are moving on to a different part, like education having a great impact on social kind of activities. So tell us, how can education be used as a tool to for transformation, and also how can it create a greater impact in the society? So tell us all about it, ma'am.
Yeah. Education has a huge impact. I think it's already proven when more and more people are educated, they have a certain understanding where they are drawing a line where they are not allowing to be exploited. Even in the interiors of our villages and all of that, the penetration of technology in these spaces has helped them to have a greater exposure to where the world has gone. We talk about the really remote villages of our cities, of our country. We will see that technology is really there. People have mobile phone and they have data. So, along with the games and all of that they're doing, they're also listening. Let's not forget to the news. They're also listening to what is happening with the chat GPT. They're also using chat GPT. I think one of the mostly used voice note is by people who do not know how to read and write, because it's easy. Just switch on the voice note, send the voice note, the other one listens, responds, and then that's how the WhatsApp has really worked in remote villages. Technology, AI will make it better, because now we're also, a lot of us are working on, not me, but a lot of people in our country are working on language, on translation into their own native language. So when more and more of that happens, the technology reaching as it is on a real time basis, uh, anything happening in Mumbai, happening in it is available. The availability is there, so anybody who is curious will find out. So all of this is happening in all of these places, where the impact is a person who did not feel empowered has started to feel more and more empowered with regard to our own country. A lot of people who used to say, I just remember a lot of people would say, what's the point of me voting? What life am going? How is my life going to change? But it is not so. There's a lot of mobilization with regard to democracy, understanding, voting, my own rights. Seeds have become such a big deal, because there's a lot of knowledge and understanding on farming, seeds, pesticides, weather conditions. So farmers are using these kinds of things. There are a lot of grim stories also with regard to, talk about start talking about the villages and people who are still struggling with for a better life. It becomes, there's a lot of stories which are which are very painful, but at the same time we also have to look at the good that is happening, the good that is reaching. And with more and more, so education is not about the classroom, right? A classroom is great, absolutely needed. But a lot of education is life, learning is life. Every moment we are learning something or the other, and be open to learning, right? That is how we kind of, and especially in this, how we can see how our lives have changed for last past 3 5 years, I would say, from COVID. A lot of health issues has come out, and a lot of that has happened. And with the overuse of not over, but yeah, with a lot of extreme use of social media in our lives, we are also feeling a little disconnected, actually, with low and all of that has happened. A lot of what I'm trying to point out is that our lives are constantly changing at a very high speed. A lot of good has also happened, because the kind of work that we are doing today, it was impossible to imagine 10 years ago. The amount of work that I can put in just one day, I can listen to a 2 hour good 2 hour podcast and go for a driving. I can also do multiple meetings, because I can just do maybe one online meeting and five offline meetings. I can take many decisions on basis of, because I am also consulting ChatGPT. I can consult Copilot. I'm going to Gawk. I'm going to Gemini. I'm asking for five different AI, and if it gives a certain bias in that is coming, and then I'm also kind of reflecting on what all is what all AI is responding to. The kind of work that I'm doing today is far faster than I was able to do maybe even 3 years ago, because of ChatGPT, essentially. So these are learning are not only for me, right? Just because I'm sitting in Mumbai, these learnings are not only for me. These learnings are also for anybody who is curious enough at any place,
So yeah,
any place in, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely and if you ask about specific impact of what was your question actually?
the
A certain impact.
impact of education on the society and the
Yeah,
social things.
yeah. Education is non-negotiable for anybody who wants to survive. Needs to be at the top of it. Yeah. So education today is non-negotiable.
So yeah, I do understand that education has created a larger impact, because only via education people cannot be exploited. As you said, people who are in the rural areas, they'll be like easily we can just exploit them, because they're not knowing about the kind of present technology what's there. And also without a proper technology, as you said, things get a little bit dragged. Whatever kind of work that you wanted to do, it cannot be done in a very single day. Like whatever kind of things, consider even if you want to have a kind of translation from any kind of language. Suppose if a person is not able to kind of know what's the person who is standing in front of them, they're talking in a very different language, like they may be like Japanese, and we just know English. So at that point of time, ChatGPT and the very simple Google will actually translate from English to Japanese, and we can just easily communicate. So these kind of technologies are not there before 2 to 3 decades. Like during the 1990s, these technologies were not even existing. And yes, of course, even if it Google has came during the 2000. So because of the greater geo kind of innovations, like the greater thing happened only after geo. So that's the great thing which is done by a great leader, Ambani. So he's a great entrepreneur. And because of the Wi-Fi revolutions, because of the internet revolutions, we are just able to talk to you. Of course, most of Indians are using internet right now because of the great revolutions which has happened. These all things happen only because of a basic thing called education. So yes, of course, education creates a very vital impact in the society. So also we were just talking about Indic wisdom. So people always
Yeah.
wanted to know what is the meaning of Indic wisdom. So tell us about the kind of meaning. What do you actually mean by Indic wisdom?
So as I said, I started with it. Indic wisdom is that is Indian wisdom traditions. That is the Vedic value education. Because when we are bringing back Ramayana and Mahabharata and the learnings of it, this is exactly what we are doing. Indic wisdom is Indian value system.
Yeah, actually, before like 100 years, even before the Indian education policy existed, what we were teach was based upon Ramayana, based upon Mahabharata. So that's what our great great grandfathers used to learn. So you are just bringing back the old ancient kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
studies back in this kind of new technological world. That's once again a great kind of inauguration from you. So also tell us, ma'am, how does this Indic wisdom can actually make us have some kind of social responsibility and civic management. Of course, we should have a kind of good things followed by our great ancestors, followed by a great kind of Indian traditions. So how well do you think that this kind of Indic wisdom kind of knowledge can actually make us even more socially responsible and even more kind of managing with our civic sense? So tell us all about it, man.
So, when you start looking within yourself, when we start looking and reflecting and becomes part of our ritual and daily practice, then we tend to become a better person in every possible way, in every category of, be it a son or a daughter or, wife or a husband, whatever roles we are playing, we play it in a manner where we are reflective of own actions and the repercussions of it. So, in the same manner, when we are driving a car, you talked about the civic sense, or maybe throwing a garbage. We will be, if we are a reflective person, we will be cognizant of the fact that okay, this is something that I should not do, because it's kind of makes our city look dirty. As simple as that. So, as I said, when we are a reflective person, we are a better citizens also.
Yeah, of course. I do understand that these are the kind of things which we should regularly have in our life, because only when we follow the kind of ancient things. Of course, I do remember a certain thing which happened during the British history. Like we were just using charcoal to what to say to just brush our teeth. But the thing is that they came and they told that throw away the charcoals, use toothpaste. But now again we are using charcoals in toothpaste. So that's when I remember that the old ancient ways can actually make us even more kind of socially
Yeah,
responsible.
I just want to qualify it here that we should never let go of the technology that we have gotten hold of, after such difficulties. So, even in our work, we use a lot of psychological tools. We use Carl Jung's archetypes. We use a lot of, tools, as I said, visualization, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is, we talk about nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and of course Carl Jung's archetype, as I already said. So we are bringing in the framework done so beautifully by the West. So using that as well, and we are using, I think, even the toothpaste, at least charcoal, which we are directly using it. It had a dirt also, at least the toothpaste which is just come, and even the charcoal is there. It's a pleasant thing to use toothpaste as a cleaning paste for us. So there's a balance that we need to bring in. We need to take the good from everything, whichever is coming
Yeah,
from all
kind
over the
of
place.
integration between the old ancient in the history and the integration,
Yeah,
the new technological
integration.
advancement can
Integration is the
actually
word.
make life better. I do understand. So also tell us how can the education system and the policy make us work together. So this is the second step of integration. Like the educations and the policy makers who are making it should actually work together in order to create more inclusive and equitable education system. So tell us how can one kind of policymakers can kind of actually work with education, and how can they make equity in the education system? So tell us about your kind of explanation, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'm a very new person into the space of creating content for the school students. So I would really, and the recommendation that has come from National Education Policy, which says that include and integrate. Integrate is the word there also. They're saying not, don't again create another thing to teach children. Integrate in the work already that you're doing. Integrate it as a part of the all the teachings that you're doing and all of that. So I think what we have done is we have created this purpose curriculum where we have given a lot of processes, activities, and all of that. What the educators and the policymakers need to do is to sit and have an understanding of what is it that what is it that specifically needed. Coming to the spec, because this was a kind of a guideline, kind of a directive, right? It's a recommendation. So, but we have to really make it a directive. Then we have to be very specific and pointed towards, these are the things which are like out of 10 things that I'm offering. Now, and a policymaker can say, okay, no, we can maybe take 3 things from here and implement it in all the CBSE schools. So how does that look? So if that is possible, then I think that is a great, place to start, where with there's a lot of work that can actually go, because that will help in implementation in a very big way.
So yeah, yes, of course, that's a kind of good thing, because no need to kind of bring totally new to the education system. We can actually kind of integrate with it. So that's once again a great initiative. So ma'am, we have just come to
Right.
another a different part, which is revolving around expertise and experience. So tell us what actually inspired you to focus on Indian wisdom, like Indic wisdom and education. Like as you told that you had a good history which actually inspired you, and also tell us any other kind of inspiration which actually made you focus on Indic wisdom and education system, ma'am.
Yeah, as I shared at the start, that it's my personal story where I felt that this was helping me to uh, feel more aligned towards what I am, and to feel more myself, more about myself, and not to do things to make other people happy, and basically to start focusing on what I want to do, what I really want to do, and studying Vedanta with Chenmaya Mission, and there's an online organization, there's an organization called IIW, doing Gita sessions with them has really again added to what I'm studying with Yoga Sutra, and I felt this was something which was telling me something very deep, telling me something which made helped me make shifts in my own life, which was giving me clarity and as well as well-being, mental and physical. So, if you see, the world that we are getting into is a world where the adults, 30 plus, are needing more and more counselors and therapists and all of that. Everybody feels that I need to go and see a shrink. So, why is that happening? What is going on with us? This was the reason, which, of course, as I already shared, technology has a role to play, because we're always scrolling, and there's so much of dopamine which are empty. After we are done with that, we feel really like falling in a endless pit that doesn't make us happy at all. Where as when I am studying Yoga Sutra, or when I am doing my practices like japa, chanting, reading a certain story, reading a story of Ram, reading a story of all the devis that we have, made me very fulfilled and happy. It made me stabilize and feel rooted. So this is it, and this is the experience that I wanted to share with the world, which
That's
was
actually,
speaking to.
yeah, everything started with a very simple logic that you always wanted what you wanted to do. You never listen to the society, and you always wanted to make sure that you always be in a profession that you always wanted to do. So that's actually a great
So
thing.
not always, as you know, not always. It's it's like you listen to others. That is what you're taught as a child, that you do listen to other people. You listen to this, you listen to that, you listen to the elders, you listen to the whole setup and all of that. And then after doing all of that, even after doing all of that, nothing works. Then one questions, and after questioning is the reflection, and after reflection is the finding, and after finding is where I have, at least my own journey has been like that. So it was not that I was always clear of, or where I wanted or what I wanted to do, but yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah, once again, it's very simple, ma'am. You always wanted to do what you wish, and if you get some kind of better ideas from others, you just try to incorporate it. I do understand. So, you had a 13 years of experience in education. So tell us, how do you actually, yes, tell ma'am.
Third, yeah, 13 years of education in non-profit space.
Yeah. Okay.
So there, I think I worked for first 4 years of my life. I worked with youth. So we started the chapter a non-profit for the non-profit, and I was managing and being with the young people, 18, 19 year olds. I think my youngest one was 19 year old volunteer, and we had more than 100 volunteers, around 40 to 50 volunteers who were very active. So engaging with them, a lot of workshops, facilitation, content creation was happening with them, because we were going and teaching at schools, at shelter homes, at places of orphanages and all of that. So this was a place where we are training the youth to teach there. So that was my experience. And then I was part of a movement where we were creating a lot of space for giving across various organizations of corporates and NGOs. So we did that. Then I was associated with a youth organization also briefly, where they were doing a lot of civic work and a bit of leadership work as well. I was associated with that also. That was one of the first things I was, in touch with, where I found that I am very interested in how the youth kind of learns and turns up with regard to capacity building and understanding their own self. So that was there. And then the another organization that I worked longest, that is where I got in touch with, spearheading a fellowship program for founders of many organizations who were running their own organization, creating content and holding space with regard to capacity building and many other programs for them, along with L&D of the organization itself. So I contributed to that as well. So along with many other capacities, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
But
working with, yeah, I do understand you're starting from teenage, you're working with each and every kind of age category persons, so that you'll be having a
yeah,
wider.
actually, from 19 to 75.
Yeah, that's actually where you can get a kind of greater, kind of broader, kind of wisdom, kind of experience, and many such things, ma'am. And also, if there is any kind of one advice which you would like to tell to the education policy makers and to the Indian education system when they try to incorporate the Indian, the wisdom that we are talking about, the kind of stories that you wanted to incorporate the ancient stories into this education system. So what advice would you tell to the education system and to the policy makers via, I mean, in integrating this Indic wisdom into the education system, ma'am?
So I would invite the policymakers to actually sit together and zero in on what are the things that can be very easily implemented with as a directive to all the schools, as many schools as possible, which are very valuable and good for their own well-being. That's one thing. And with regard to educators, I would invite them to explore our curriculum and see what is possible.
That's actually a good initiative. That will be a good venture in the future. So also one
Yeah.
last final question for this interview is very simple, ma'am. Via this interview, if you wanted to convey any kind of message to the society, it may be to the kids, it may be to the teenage person, it may be to the middle age, it may be to the old age person. What will be the unique message that you wanted to convey to the audience who are watching this interview right now, ma'am?
Hmm. I would say, I mean, like I'm very, I haven't, I don't know, I'm not, I don't feel very qualified to give a message to anybody right now. But all I can say is that it is valuable to go back and find more about our roots. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's very simple, but you had a great message which is told by you. See, the thing is that if you are able to find out the kind of history of yourself, then you can actually kind of solve any kind of problems what you have faced in your life. That you told in a very simple manner that you have to go and find and study the roots. That's the noble cause, man. Because whenever you go into a doctor and whenever the doctor asks about the medical history, you'll be giving the kind of places where you went, what are the problems that you had. The thing is that when we are actually able to find out the root cause of our disease, we are just going to the ancient times and what to say. If there is any kind of disease in your body, and if you are able to find the root cause, then you will be able to eradicate it completely. So in the same way, when we are able to kind of know our roots, because consider we are in Indians and we are just eating foods what actually eating vegetables what actually grows in our Indian grounds, and consider when you go for German country, that's actually different people. So they should actually stick to the roots, which is the ancient roots followed by the ancestors, and each and every country has their own roots which they can follow, so that it will actually have some kind of some or the other way, it will actually hold most of the valuable things which we can follow in order to make sure that we can achieve whatever things that we wanted in our life. So that's the simple and strongest kind of message. Even I think you have told this kind of message, which is actually incorporated in your subconscious mind, but I'm easily able to kind of understand what you're actually trying to tell. So that's once again a great speech from you, ma'am. So people who are watching this interview right now, please go click on the bell icon and please go click on the subscribe button so that you can receive notifications whenever I do post new videos regarding women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So today's our guest is from Mumbai. Her name is RASHMI SINHA. She is a founder of Sattvavarta. So I can mention her Instagram link down here. You can just directly message her, have a conversation with her, and also I have mentioned her Sattvavarta website link over there. You can just take a look at her. So thank you once again, RASHMI SINHA ma'am, for allowing me to host this Women Today YouTube channel interview. And it was a great conversation with you regarding personality development and integrating the education system with the Indic wisdom and all that kind of things. We had a great knowledge via with you with this interview. So good evening, ma'am. Have a very nice day. So wishing you all the best for your future ventures. So that's it, ma'am. Once again, thanking you for just allowing me to host this Women Today YouTube channel interviews, ma'am.
Thank you.